you know me from then, some of you know me from now. So today, for our opening words, Mirtha, my spouse, is going to read us a poem by Mary Oliver. So if you want to come up.
The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew that what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundation, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. And there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
And Dylan, my son, is going to play us a piece now. Welcome again. That's in my notes, so I'm going to say it again. I am a short woman with brown hair and silver glittery glasses, and wearing a blue shirt and black pants, and my pronouns are she, her. Also helping with today's service are Richard Duffin on tech, and obviously my son Dylan, my spouse Mirtha, and there's probably others. So we come together on these sacred homelands of the Dakota people and endeavor ourselves to be worthy co-stewards of this land, centering on the grounding value of love, wholly aware of our interconnectedness to all. Welcome to the Minnesota Valley UU Fellowship, and a special welcome to anyone who is joining us today for the first time. We invite you to fill out a visitor form in the lobby and take a green visitor packet. For those visiting online, you can find the link to the visitor packet in the form in the chat or description area. Whatever has brought you to this shared space that we create together, may you find the compassion, comfort, and companionship that you seek. And with that, will you please join me in the words for lighting our chalice? Please join together in singing our opening hymn. It's number 66 in the gray hymnal, and it should be up here as well. When Summer is Shining.
When the summer sun is shining over golden land and sea, and the flowers in the hedgerow welcome butterfly and bee, then my open heart is glowing, full of warmth for everyone, and I feel an inner beauty which reflects the summer sun. When the summer clouds of thunder bring the long-awaited rain, and the thirsty soil is moistened and the grass is green again, then I long for summer sunshine, but I know that clouds and tears are a part of life's refreshment, like the rainbow's hopes and fears. In the cool of summer evening, when the dancing insects play, and in garden, street, and meadow linger echoes of the day, then my heart is full of yearning, hopes and memories flood the whole of my being, reaching inwards to the corners of my soul.
That's pretty appropriate for the amazing weather we've been having every day. I've been telling my friends I looked ahead at the weather because I can't wait. And I noticed that it looks like this winter is going to be the same as last winter unless something drastically changes. And I went as far as like April and May, and I know that things can change, but it looked like we're having April starting and summer again next year, so. Not good, good. I don't even know how to interpret. All right, so each week we set aside a few moments to lift up the joys, sorrows, and concerns of those gathered in this space. If you're on Zoom, we invite you to share in the chat. If you're on YouTube, you can use the comment section. And folks here in person can raise their hand and an usher will come to you with a microphone.
Good morning. I'm Barb Gillian, and I have a joy. Today is my 77th birthday, and I'm happy to be alive and doing well. And I don't usually mention my birthday, but this one is kind of unusual because I was born on the 7th day of the 7th month in 1947, and today I turned 77. Apparently, 7 is my lucky number. And the other thing is, I get to brag that I am a week older than Richard Duffin. So next week we'll celebrate for him.
Happy birthday.
Hello, my name is Linda Hayen, and I wanted to who sent cards and emails to my son, Philip, who has a broken leg. Really appreciate the caring and concern from the congregation. He's doing much better. He's healing. It'll be a long recovery, but he's, I think, going to be okay.
My name is Holly Bruce, and I serve on the board. Next Saturday, it's going to be hot, but we would like you all to come. We are starting to clean up the house next door, and we really need all the help we can get. So 9 o'clock in the morning, bring your chainsaw.
I'm Betty Miller, it's a son, and I'm pleased to say that my son and my grandchildren are here from Thailand, and they're staying till the end of the month.
I'm Andrea Anderson, and just an announcement, we still need people for summer services to help be a greeter, be an usher. If you don't know how to do it, then someone is always here to help you, and so don't be shy, sign up.
Anyone else? Anyone on
We got
Zoom,
one for
Richard?
Nan.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm Nan Corliss, and I'm asking you to pick up a packet if you like to write. You the vote. We're writing to potential voters in the state of Minnesota, and they live in apartments all around the Twin Cities. We have about 10 more packets of 60 cards each to write a little message why I vote. So you don't have to write very much. You just have to put in why voting is important to you. But they're all, they will be, if you can buy stamps, that's great. If not, Moose Jaw will purchase the stamps, and when you return the packet, we'll stamp them for you. But all the instructions are in there. It's not very hard to do, but I think we have about 10 more packets to give out. So if you like to write messages, now's your chance.
Hi, I'm Maribeth Rollerson, and I discovered something that I thought the people in this particular community would appreciate. I know I do. There's a program that Hennepin County operates. It's called Don't Trash It, Fix It. And I was at the Hope Church and the thrift store and discovered a pamphlet about it. I think it's a wonderful program, so I went, and my sewing machine isn't working, so this is a particular skirt that had a lot of work that needed to be done on it, and so they'll sew for you something that, you know, you need a hem that needs to be sewed up or something like that, or something mechanical that isn't working that you would ordinarily throw in the landfill. They'll fix it for you right there on the spot. And this one, the next one is going to be at the Mount Olivet Lutheran Church. I forget the date, it's in July. It's once every month, so you could just Google Don't Trash It, Fix It online, and you'll find the program.
Anyone on Zoom, Richard? No?
We got Greg.
Power, power. Power to the people. I was greeting today, and as part of my project, I got a hold of that box down there that was supposed to be extra name tags in alphabetical order. Guess what I found? Chaos. So, brothers and sisters, I beseech you, when you need need to use an extra name tag and forget yours at home, in the car, or wherever in the world, and you look in that little ABC little box there, everything is in order according to the first name, the first initial of your first name now. Keep it in order, brothers and sisters. We don't need any more control chaos or entropy, as a scientist would say. Otherwise, brothers and sisters, this eyesight that you have given me through true vision is just going from AM to FM. Nice. That's what it's like.
We lift up that which has been shared alongside the joys and sorrows and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. Will you please join me for our song response? I'd like to invite Mirtha up to the front to share a grounding meditation with us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. I don't like these static microphones because then I can't move my hands, and that's a problem.
There's a microphone right there.
No, I got this one.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'm going to invite you all to take a moment. If you want to close your eyes, you can. If not, you can leave them open. And to find a place inside of you, perhaps a place nobody else knows about, a quiet place. And imagine if your body was like a tree, and roots could grow from the tip of your tailbone all the way down deep into Mother Earth, grabbing the earth, connecting with the earth, at the same time extending your branches way up into the sky. Knowing that energy can flow from the earth to you, up, down through your body, and into the earth. And this reciprocal relationship back and forth can invigorate you, relax you, connect you. Because we all are part of nature. Nature is in us. We are part of nature. It is our nature to be grounded and to be connected at the deepest level. Thank you. I don't think this is working.
So for the summer offertory, half of our summer offering is being shared with Veep, which is the Twin Cities' largest food pantry, providing access to healthy foods, social services, and financial assistance. Do we have folks that are coming around with the offertory basket? When you guys mentioned cars being at Veep, like 100 cars sometimes parked in a line, is that the one in Bloomington?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They also have that, people might know this, they have a really nice, actually a really nice grocery store inside. And there are a lot of good food in there, including, I know there's a lot of organic stores, co-ops and things that deliver their food there. So people can go in and get organic vegetables, soups, I mean, all kinds of stuff, refrigerated items. It's a pretty amazing place. And yeah, there's usually a lot of people there. They have carts, they have people helping. It's a pretty great place. When we live lives of service and generosity, we create justice and joy. That was supposed to be said before the ushers came up, but that's okay. We still create the justice and joy. So now I'm going to ask Mirtha to come up and talk about personal transformation, and hopefully the microphone is working a little better. We can give it a try. Otherwise, you can switch to this one. These are mine. I got yours. See if the microphone works. Yeah.
Can everybody hear me? Better, right?
Yes.
And I tend to be loud, so I'm going to let Richard control the volume there. So my name is Mirth Solis, and I am the owner and founder of Blue Lotus Training and Consulting. And it's an adult career school, and I train people to become transformational life coaches and work with folks, support people in whatever ways they need to be supported. I've been in the human service field for 43 years and really went from psychology, social work, to neurolinguistics, hypnosis, energy work, which is what I do now. And so part of what I wanted to share with you all today is a little bit about transformation and share a tool with you that you can use as a daily meditation or practice that actually is used in the Hawaiian Islands, been used for thousands of years. It's called, is anyone familiar with Ho'oponopono? Have you ever heard that? You have? Have you experienced it in Hawaii or here? Okay. So it's still practiced to this day, but differently throughout the islands, of course. Things get shifted and added to and modified as we go. And the idea behind it is about transformation. How many of you find transformation easy? Right, it's not easy. Meanwhile, we're always transforming. We're always changing. We can't help it. Change is the only constant. Those of us that are above 50, we know we've changed. I'm reminded every day when I look in the mirror, I'm like, wait, that's not the gal I feel like inside. But transformation is necessary because if we don't evolve, we perish. If we don't change, if we hold on to everything we've ever encountered, especially unpleasant things, we would be weighed down by a bag of rocks. And most people, when they change something or heal something, say, oh, it feels like such a weight off my shoulders, because it truly is a weight that we carry around. And so the premise behind Ho'oponopono in particular is the Hawaiians did it at sunset, and they released all their attachments to people, animals, and things to the sun. The idea was really to begin the next day without judgment, with a clean slate. Imagine that, if we started our days that way. Most times we start the day maybe thinking, oh, I got to see that person at the office, or I got to see my neighbor, and they're so crabby, and they're this and that. Oh, I'm seeing my family for the holidays, or whatever stuff we got going on. So the idea is that if you think about thought, we have about 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thinking. I imagine now with technology, we probably have more because we're constantly stimulated. If we look at our phone, we see 400 things that we aren't actually wanting to look at, but they're there. So we then have to think about swiping them away or doing whatever with them. And we repeat about 80 to 90% of those thoughts every day. So if the thoughts are uplifting and useful and positive, then we're on a roll. If they're not, what happens? We're on the decline. We actually are revivifying the problem of yesterday. Because there are issues we have to deal with in life, no question about it, right? We all have things, whether it's physical things that are going on, or emotional, or familial. But we also have wonderful joys. I really like this stuff you all do with joys and concerns, and joys and sorrows, because we can hold two opposing things at the same time. We can have a lot of joy and also have some sorrow. One does not take away from does not cancel the other one out. And so our thoughts are very powerful, and if we're continuing to repeat the unpleasant ones, then we're continuing to feed that fire. I call it, are you depositing in the bank of positivity or negativity?
I call it feeding the wolf.
Or feeding the wolf, the two wolves, right? Which one are you feeding? And so think about it. If every time we have a negative thought, we're depositing in the bank that takes money from us. Everybody's known banks like that, right?
Oh, yes.
High interest, or they take fees for everything, just for existing. And
Wells Fargo.
I'm sure there's quite a few of them. I got to check on my fees now that you mentioned that. Then there's the bank of positivity. There we get dividends. The payoff is way better. And so how are you depositing your thoughts? What bank do you go to? Or what bank do you do remotely? I mean, it doesn't matter now. We don't even go to the bank anymore. And so part of the concept behind Ho'oponopono is that every time we come in touch with a person, an animal, a thing, a chair, a table, we create an energy cord that connects us to that person or thing, that creature or that object. That energy cord sends energy back and forth, right? It's reciprocal. So when we meet someone at the bus stop or at the supermarket, we're forming a cord, that kind of cord with them. Now that's all well and good. If it was a positive experience, then we're going to have a very positive energy exchange. If it was a not so positive experience, then guess what happens? We connect with the person. Let's say we meet somebody and we say, oh, they were kind of crabby. They're not so nice. I don't really like this person. And that cord is there. Now we create an image in our mind of crabby person, right? And where does that image go? Where does that image get filed? It's in us,
Yep.
right? They don't have the image we have of them. They might be looking in the mirror saying, I'm hot stuff, right? But we have the image of them as crabby, and that image is affecting us.
That's right.
That's right. So then, next time I'm going to see person A, I think, oh, crabby pants again, geez. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for crabby pants, because that's the image I stored in my mind, and I connected it to that person. Not fair, right? Because maybe the day we met them, they were crabby because they had a stomach virus, or they had a cold, or they had a tragedy in their family, and so they were crabby. We're all allowed to be crabby. It's part of human nature. The same thing happens, though, when we meet someone and we have a great experience. We can talk to them for 3 hours, and we feel like we've known them forever. Oh my God, that person, I could talk to them for days. They're like my kindred spirit. Problem is, now we create an image of them that we store in our mind, saying, oh, marvelous person. Problem is, next time we go to meet them, we're expecting that. And then that day, they have a stomach virus. They're crabby. So where does our mind go? One of two places. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? And now we get into judgment, right? Because, hey, what's wrong with me? They were so nice the first time I met them, and today they're just like crabby. Well, or what's wrong with me. They liked me so much the first time, and today they don't even want to talk to me. Because, we create our reality in our mind. We all have a unique map of the world. It's really amazing we can have relationships and cohabitate with people. For those of you that are married or have been married, not always an easy thing. Or our children or our parents. I mean, relationships are relationships. And so when we don't understand other people aren't in our same reality all the time, then that gets complicated. And we become judgy. And judgy of ourselves, and judgmental of others. So the idea that the Hawaiians had was, let's cut all these cords and let this go to the sun, right? They did it at sunset. You can do it any time of day. And that way, I can start every day with a clean slate. I can give crabby pants an opportunity to not be crabby. I can give myself the opportunity to not judge myself that crabby pants didn't want to talk to me. And I also don't have high expectations of a person that I really like, but some days they're not going to be their 100% best self. And it lightens the load. It's like taking rocks out of a backpack. If any of you hike, some people hike with those weighted vests. If I carry my bottle of water, I'm like, okay, that's extra weight. That's enough. But it would be like unloading all this weight. And it opens us up to receive what others have to offer, which sometimes are unexpected gifts. We think, oh, that person doesn't have anything to offer to me. Well, beware that sometimes a moment of contact with a person can change your life or their life. Yeah, like we don't know. At a bus stop, at the supermarket, smiling at somebody, someone smiling at you when you're having a crabby day can change the world. And so any questions or comments any of you want to make before I guide you through the process, if you would like? Yes, birthday girl.
I'm just curious why you switched from traditional.
Great question. One I love to talk about, but I won't take all the time doing that. When I got my undergraduate in psychology and then my master's in social work, I felt very frustrated as a therapist. I worked in addictions treatment with teenagers, families, adults, you name it. I did that for 15 years in New York City, so you can imagine that was, after you do that, you can pretty much do anything, except maybe skydive, I'm not too sure about that. But it was very hard work because in traditional therapies, I didn't get tools. Now, I also trained back in the 80s, so I'm sure maybe now it's different for younger students, but I didn't get tools, practical tools. We talked about people's beliefs or sorrows or limiting or values in conflict. Talky. Well, I can go out to coffee with all of you and we could talk our faces off, but that doesn't mean it's going to change. And so about 15 years into my career, I ran into a boss that said to me, there's something else, there's more, and I want you and another gal to train in this because it can change your life and we can impact this community of children. We had 12 to 18-year-olds in drug treatment, residential. So we worked in their house, basically. During the era of AIDS, the beginning of AIDS, and into the mid-90s. And so he said to me, I had a phobia of heights. And my associate at the time had a phobia of frogs. And he said, no worries, I can help you ladies with your phobias. And I was like, yeah, right. Sure. You bring my whole family in, they're all afraid of heights, they're all afraid of something. Well, he was right. He did some work with us using neurolinguistics. And next thing you know, I'm on a zip line going, wee! And she's holding a frog, laughing her face off. And I thought, okay, I want to learn this stuff. I want to be part of these tools. So he said to us, go do a fire walk. I was like, okay, now you've gone mad. A zip line is one thing, now you want me to walk on fire, like, nah. But I did, because he said, if you don't get anything out of it, I'll pay for it. I mean, come on, what else? Except maybe losing my feet. But he was right. And my friend and I went and we did the fire walk, and we said, okay, some guy's up on the stage talking for 3 hours, and next thing you know, I'm walking on burning coals and my feet aren't like melted down to the bone. I said, okay, I think this is worth exploring. So that's how it started. And then I went into the field of neurolinguistics, hypnosis, Reiki, and chakra work. I mean, you name it, mix it all in. I don't even know. That's why I call myself a transformational life coach, because it's a big pot of soup that I use as my toolbox. And really, the premise under all of it is to reconnect people back to themselves, back to spirit, whatever that is for them inside, and empower people. And not create a dependency that I found often in the therapy world. Got to see my therapist before I go on vacation. Got to see my therapist before I marry somebody. Got to see my therapist. And I didn't want that dependency because I can't live with people. I mean, you know, as their therapist. So I wanted a tool that also allowed me to educate clients and really give people information to empower themselves so that when they're not in my office, they can do something on their own as well. Maya? Yeah, so it is still a psychological approach. It's just literally when we change our language and when we change our thoughts, it changes neurology. So that's basically what Maya just asked. And so it is still a therapeutic model, it's just not in the traditional way. Yeah, we're going deeper and we go to root cause. So sometimes we want to talk about our problem until it dissolves. It actually doesn't, because we're feeding the wolf that is in the bank of negativity. We're not feeding the wolf that's in the bank of positivity. And so when we go to the root of something, like if we went into weed outside and we pulled things from the root, it will not allow, well, we got to put something in its place, of course, like grass seed or flowers. Otherwise, the neighboring weeds say, hey, there's room next door, let's move in there. And so we can't snip things on the surface. If we snip it on the surface, we have temporary relief. If we go to the root, it's out. And then we have the opportunity to replace it with what we want, which ultimately, we all want what we want, don't we? So any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have had several bouts of mental health struggles, and they always start with anxiety and eventually devolves into depression. And I have finally figured out, amazingly with the help of a traditional social work counselor, that for me the heart of the issue is procrastination when I face what I determine are difficult things. And what has finally really helped is I have found some physical things as well as things I say to myself that help get past the anxiety and just start doing whatever I think is difficult. Simple ways to calm anxiety include yawning, singing, scrunching up some muscles, tightening them, and then releasing them, yawning. All these are just very simple things that I practice throughout the day to keep the anxiety at bay. And my motto is just start, because when most of us, when we just start a difficult thing, it becomes so much more manageable. And this is probably something all of you have known for a long time, but it took me 77 years to figure it out. So,
and good thing you did.
Yes.
And good thing you got some good help to do it.
Yes.
And you're right, yawning resets the nervous system. That's part of why it's so effective in breaking anxiety. Changing our breath, you know, the pace of our breath, the deeper breath. Changing our peripheral, going from tunnel vision to peripheral vision also is great. And I want to throw something out at you about anxiety and to anybody else who wants to grab it. I often refer to anxiety as Stifled creativity. Stifled creativity. In other words, we're holding down, we're pressing down on our creativity and self-expression. And that energy, because energy is like water, it likes to move. That energy's churning, 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 wanting to get out. And where do most people feel anxiety? Well, yes, everywhere, but usually these are the spots where people centralize their anxiety. And so that's creative energy saying, let me out, please. Let me express myself. Let me be who I am. Let me create what I want to create, and so on and so on. Yes, she does. She's going to give you the microphone so everybody can hear your question.
Okay, so obviously I know what you do. Obviously I know what you do, and I'm a bit spiritually enlightened and advanced myself for my age, and have a different understanding. So from my understanding, it's true that thoughts create your reality, thought forms into action, and action forms into a manifestation of a pattern.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. I was
Very
just
much
asking
along
the
those
question
lines, yes.
for my own,
There's more explanation to
So,
what you're saying, but
energy
yes.
work in ideally, like you said, removes the root, but also can refortify your thought patterns in a more healthy, balanced way to create
Of
better
course.
habits.
If we balance our energy, then our thinking, our actions are aligned with that energy. And that would be another talk for another day about chakras and things of that nature, because all that goes together. Oh, yes, ma'am.
But you know, there are nasty people in this world. And there are judgments that I have to make because I only have a limited amount of time that I don't want to spend with crabby pants. And, you
Understood.
know, so I guess I'm not a very good Unitarian because I don't have this feeling of love for everybody. And I don't want to get into politics, but I think we can all insert the name of the person here, that I just don't have, I don't want to waste my time on that. So when you say I get judgy, you're damn right I do.
Yeah. Well, I do too. I mean, we all do. That is part. I mean, and I like to look at judgment as discernment. Should I go down that dark alley by myself in a certain street in a certain city that I don't know, and I'm not exactly a spring chicken, and I don't know karate, and I don't have weapons? I think my judgment or my discernment says, don't do it, right? So, and what you're talking about makes sense. We're not going to like everybody. However, when we have dislike for someone and we create this image of their crabby pants, that image lives in us. That's the part I don't want to keep, right? Because then it's holding space. It's like it's holding space in our hard drive. You know, when your phone says you don't have any more storage, you've used it all up, and then you got to pay Google to give you more. Isn't that smart? Pay for space that nobody owns. And so why not empty out our hard drive of things that truly are toxic for our body? Whether we're talking about politics or whatever, we don't have to like people, but we don't have to carry the negative thoughts in us. We can just say, no, thank you, Krabby Pants, I don't want to hang out with you. No, thank you, Krabby Pants, I don't want to vote for you. No, thank you, Krabby Pants, I don't want to be your neighbor. But we don't have to keep that inside. If we keep it inside, it hurts us eventually. I know, because I've had bouts in my life of a lot of anger and stuff, and it really, really brings me down. And when I'm minding my own business, as I say, and letting others be, as long as they're not infringing or hurting anyone, then I actually feel more peaceful. So it's not about loving everyone. That's a choice we have. We do have free will to love, dislike, hate, all that. But just consider how much room it's taking up in your hard drive, or in your closet, or in your backpack, whichever metaphor you like. Yes, sir.
As Unitarians, I will remind every one of us, everyone has inherent worth and dignity, including those crabby pants
Of course.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
One way to kind of deal with the fact that you're not going to agree with everyone and how they live their lives, just focus on accepting. Focus on seeing, okay, why do you do this? How does this work for you? So that even though you might not agree with them, you can at least have some semblance of, okay, at least I understand you, and we can use that as a starting place for any sort of communication we want to take.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because we can't change others. I know many of us have dedicated a lifetime to trying to change others. And how successful have we been? Not very. So, Maya?
I'd also like to say that when you're trying to micromanage someone else's energy, you tend to end up very frustrated. And I know because this is something that I've done with a lot of my own time. I'm very young, but I've wasted a lot of my time being that B word in the room that nobody likes and is always judging somebody. And honestly, it really does corrupt your heart over time. So, you know, I don't agree with everybody all the time. And I know some people don't agree with me all the time, but the best thing that you can do for yourself, honestly, is come to some point of compassion and understanding that you reap what you sow, and especially energetically in the world. And when you put out a negative energy, it always comes back to you. And I've learned this the hard way time and time again. My aunts have been witness to it. You know, if you want somebody to understand you, the best thing you can do is try your hardest to put yourself in their shoes and have compassion for their point of view, because it makes it easier for that person to come to an understanding with your point of view, or at least from what I've experienced.
And there is a lot of great points been made, because yes, we don't have to like everybody, but we also don't have to carry the burden that that's all they are. I think the gentleman in the back said it well, that we can, in NLP we have a question that is, what has to be true? The more hideous the action of another, that is a question to ask, to also separate ourselves from personalizing it. What has to be true for the person that murders somebody? Like, what has to be true in their mind that they went there? And that doesn't mean we're going to say, oh, it's okay, you kill that person. But it takes some of the judgment out of it, helps us with a little more compassion and understanding. Again, is murdering people okay? Well, I would say no, personally. But sometimes it has happened in cases where it's been save the baby or kill the person. I mean, save the baby and you have to kill the person, or whatever. But getting away from all that violent stuff. Any other questions about the stuff I said? Because I do want to guide you through the process if you all would like that. Okay? We'll do what I call a quickie version of it, right? So that we end on time. All right, so yes, get comfortable in your chairs. Some of you already kind of know the drill. And I'm going to ask you some questions that you're going to just answer to yourself. And the idea is you're going to visualize a representation of a person or thing or situation that you have some, you'd like to cut some cords with that situation, that person. Or even habits. We get attached to habits. And the longer we have the habit, the thicker the cord. So imagine that that person, thing, or situation is up here on the stage, standing next to me. And then I want you to imagine an infinite source of healing light coming in through the top of your head and out of your heart, and sending it to this image out here. And that light can be of any color or intensity you wish. And allow it to totally and completely surround that image you've made in your mind's eye. And then take a moment inside yourself to say what you want to say to that person or that situation or that habit. Perhaps you're saying, I no longer want a relationship with you. I no longer want to judge you. I don't want to accept your behavior. Whatever it is, your own personal communication to that person or situation. And know, of course, that as that healing light is passing through you, you too are being healed in the process. And then also take a moment and perhaps hear what the other person or situation might have to say to you. Perhaps something you weren't able to hear even 10 minutes ago. What might they say if they were here right now? And when you feel ready, you can imagine that these invisible or visible cords of energy between you and that situation or person can be cut, dissolved, or removed. One time I did this with a young gal, and she used clown scissors to cut the cords. People have used chainsaws in the case of thick cords. So whatever way you want to dismantle those cords, remembering that when we're no longer plugged into something, energy can't flow there. And go ahead, if you haven't already, and sever those cords and allow that old representation to transform or dissolve or disappear. And then notice how you feel inside. And when you're ready, you can bring your attention back out here. Did any of you feel any difference or notice anything that was unexpected to you? Yes, ma'am. It would? It left, yeah. Excellent. Yes.
I was having difficulty because I was trying to let go of a habit. I'm luckily not addicted to alcohol or drugs, but I'm addicted to sweet treats that I know aren't good for my health. And I was having a hard time knowing how to visualize that and cut it. I mean, the best I could do was to envision doing other things when I wanted the comfort of the sweet treats.
That's actually a great thing you did, because we get attached to things. This is my chair. I can't watch TV right if I'm not in this chair, right? I mean, we get attached to oh, I have to wear that shirt when I go do that. Or I have to have these shoes or this iPhone, or, you know, on and on. I could go a million things. Or my sweet treat is my reward. It's my comfort, right? People go smoke a cigarette at the lunch break. Oh my God, what a day at work. Let me go smoke a cigarette. Now they're just putting some more, you know, nicotine in their body so they can get more hyped up, but that's a different, but it's what we attach. In our mind, we've associated sweet treats equals happiness, right? And when you said earlier about anxiety, and when you tell yourself, just get started, that is about using your creativity. Sometimes when we get busy with, oh, I have to have this every night before bed, la la la, because that makes me feel X, Y, and Z, we have to actually find something that truly inside makes us feel that, because this is not going to do it. or the cookie or whatever. I used to be a late in the evening treat person. Little milk, dip something in the milk. Why? Because as a child, my mom did that. So of course I had a great positive association to a cookie with milk at night, or a biscuit, whatever it was, because this is my mom. And it's something we shared that was very positive. So now I don't do that anymore. My beloved has me aware that eating after 6 p.m. is not good for my svelte figure. So, so now I don't do sweet treats at night. I eat way healthier, and I sleep better. So then it's a whole cycle. Oh, so now at night, what I do is a whole little yoga routine for getting de-stressed before I go into my beauty sleep. And boy, that is a charm. I've been doing that for 3 years now, and I call it off-ramping, right? You don't jump off the highway, you go on the off-ramp. So this is kind of the way I off-ramp at night from a busy day. But check out the anxiety piece as creativity and get started, because you got a lot of creative energy that wants to get out. Anyone else? Thank you all so much for having me. I'm so glad I finally got here. Nikki's been trying to get me here forever, but I had some physical stuff I was going through and all kinds of fun stuff that we deal with. So, but here I am. Thank you all.
I think Dylan is going to play one more piece. I can't pronounce it, so maybe you can when you come up.
So this one is a French piece by Camille Saint-Saëns. In English, the title is The Swan. And I thought since like the first piece I played was minor, then last piece major, so kind of transformation. So kind of to like tie into everything Mirtha was saying and all the questions that were answered. So yeah, this one's in major. It's called The Swan. In French, it's Le Cygne. And here we go.
Thank you both.
Ooh, goodness. It was wonderful to be able to have my family here today and to share them with you. So I think I'm going to extinguish the chalice and we can say our words on the board. We extinguish this flame, not the light of the truth, nor of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of this beautiful day.
Thank you.